So what we have here is a video to accompany the PDF, going through some of the symbols and other things that you will find when you're trying to learn to read tab. So if you're interested in learning to read tab, which I assume most of you, if you wanted to play the guitar, would be, this is going to run through what they mean, and I'm going to demonstrate what the bits on the PDF are on a guitar. So the first thing that we're going to come across is the fact that we've got some single notes on strings, and I'm going to do across each of the 6 strings. So what you need to be aware of is that at the bottom on the tab, you've got 6 lines. The bottom is where the deep notes are. Okay, the deep notes. So the deep notes are going to be down on the thickest strings. That's what we've got. So what you're doing is going from the bottom up. You're going to go E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay. So the first thing is we have a 0. So a 0 means an open string. So you hit, it's at the bottom, the low E open. Then the next note along is 1. So we play the first fret. Then it says 2, and then it says 3. So if you follow through till we get the first break in the bars, what you'll see is that we have this on every single string. So you're getting the idea of open 1, 2, 3, open 1, 2, 3. Then, if you have a look at the next little section, I'm just going to scroll down because I wrote it all out, is we'll see that we have 4, 3, 2, 1. So you have to go to the 4th fret on the low E string, on the high E string, which will be on the highest point on the tab. It'll be 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's making for a finger exercise. So this is the first thing on that PDF. It's the ascending and descending single notes, one after another. So that means that one note's been played, then another note's been played. We'll get into what happens when they're all written in a line together. At bar 14, we have the introduction of what's called a hammer-on, which is displayed on the tab as 1 and 2 following each other, but we have a tying line, and we also have the letter H involved, and that means hammer-on. So what that means is you will play the first note, which is the 1, and then without re-picking, you will hammer the next note. The next bar has a P, and that means pull off, which means we play the 2nd fret and then pull off. Now it doesn't have to be adjacent frets, you could have it. That will depend on whatever the tab says at any given time. So that's hammer-ons and pull-offs. The next one that comes along is at bar 16, which is a slide, and that is, again, there is a line that's joining them together. It's showing you from where it starts and where it finishes, and has the little SL in there. And what that means is that in this case I've moved it to the top E string, and it's the 1st fret, and what the slide on the first 2 notes goes from the 1st fret to the 3rd fret. So you hit the 1st note and then slide your finger up, and then in the 2nd half, 3rd to 5th, so you've got pick, slide, pick, slide. Can be done with any finger, and you can slide in opposite directions. You can slide backwards, but what you will have is this SL, what is called like a glissando or a tied line, which is this kind of looping thing, and it will tell you from which note to which other note that the slide will take place. The next bar, which is bar 17, we have a bend. Now, hopefully by this point you know what a bend is. So what this signifies is we have the 12th fret being played on the B string, and then it's being bent up and it says full, and full means a tone's worth of bend, which is 2 frets. If it said half, that would be a semitone's worth of bend. But that's a different technique. Well, it's a different topic. It's a technique thing which will be covered in some other bits and pieces, but this is what it means when it's written in tab. The next bar has what's called a pre-bend and a release, which is where the note starts off bent and then comes back down. So this is something else you may encounter in reading tab, where you'll find that it has a note that's already at full and then it comes down. So that's what that means. The next thing on the PDF that you will come across is a series of X's, and what these are there are notes that it's a sound that's created, but nothing's really fretted. So it'd be, so when the X is there, the string is struck, but there's not an audible pitch or a specific pitch. So you might have, these would be scratches or something that's just in there. You might see an octave written where you've got 2 notes that are the same, an octave apart, like 2 C's here, but you might have an X written in the middle to let you know that you would strike all three strings and not try and keep them separate. The next bar is the B note on the B string, which is the 12th fret, and a wobbly line that goes away from it. That is vibrato. So we play the note, and it's telling you to add vibrato to the note. That's what the wobbly line means. And if the wobbly line gets bigger, more vibrato. That's that one. We're on to the next bar, which is bar 21. I'm trying to read, it's very, very faint. Bar 21. And what it's written is the letter G, and then the notes are all stacked vertically. And this is what a G chord looks like in tab form. 3, 2, 0, 0, 3, 3. And you strike them all together. That is a G chord, and that's how it's written in tab. On the next bar is an A chord, just so you can see that. The next bar, we have a thick black line, a thin black line, and 2 dots. And then we have a D, 2 D chords, and then we have 2 A chords. And then we have 2 dots, a thin black line, a thick black line. What we have here are repeat signs. And the repeat signs mean that there is a section here that is repeated. You go round it. In this particular instance, there is no number written at the end of the repeat sign. There was a number in there that would tell you how many times it wants to be repeated. In this instance, there's no number there, so you're going to repeat it once. So it would be played twice, one as a repeat. So it would be. The reason you'd have this written on tab is that you wouldn't necessarily want to write out something that was played multiple times over and over and over. If you could just do this and repeat it. So that's why that's there. The next bar hasn't got any notes per se, but what it does have is a key signature. There's a change in the key signature, which is the funny, and I'm going to kill anyone that calls it this, but the hashtag, it's a sharp sign. But it looks like the hashtag, and there's one of them. So what you would need to do here is you'd need to know what one sharp meant for key signatures. The next bar has 4, so he's telling you which key you're now in. So this is what this means on the tab. The bar after that has a flat, looks like a little B, and that's another key signature change. So that's what that would signify on tab. The bar after that has a time signature change. It now says, it looks like fractions, it says 3, 4, which means what we have here are bars that are 3 beats long. 3 quarter beats long, so it'll be like a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, which is kind of waltz time. The next bar is 4/4, which will be 4 quarter beats in a bar. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So it's telling you what your pulse and your feel for the piece is. Again, that would appear on your tab. The next bar, which is bar 30, has what looks like a percentage sign. And the percentage sign means repeat as last bar. It's a different way of putting a repeat sign in. It's a different version of that. Bar 31, whilst still blank, has a funny line that goes up and then across the length of the bar at the top with a 1 in it. This is a type of ending. So what we're doing there is we're looking at, you may find that a piece comes to it goes through, and that will mean this is different endings. So you could have 1 2 3 or 4. The bar after that has all sorts of fun and games going on in it. I put lots of stuff in all at the same time. At the top there what looks like a target. This is called a coda sign, which usually means a kind of ending for a piece. Certainly it's a directional thing, and we can get further into that, but that's what this is a coda. And actually in the tab, which is bar 32, we have the 2, which is on the A string, which is noted B, and then in brackets it says 3, and above it has TR and a load of wobbly stuff. TR means trill. So what it's asking you to do here in the tab is to hammer on and pull off rapidly between the 2nd and 3rd frets. So it's going, but rather than writing 2 3 2 3 2 3 2 3, if you put trill there, it lets you know that you'd have that as an idea. The next bar, which is bar 34, we have the note of C, which is the 3rd fret on the A string, and it is played 8 times, but in the gap above it says PM, and PM means palm mute, and palm mute means the fleshy part on the side of my hand on the strings, rather than, sorry, it would mean, so that's what that is. The next bar has the number 12 on the A, D, G, B and the E strings in brackets, and the bracket means a harmonic. So in this particular instance they are naturally occurring harmonics because they have the bracket around them, and that's what that signifies. And so it would be these naturally occurring harmonics. Again, there would be a different thing for you to watch and go through to explain what harmonics are and how to play them, if you don't already know. And the next bar has things like artificial, well, it has an AH, a PH, a TH, a feedback and a PH, and these are all being played on the 4th fret on the different strings. So an AH, which is an artificial harmonic, what's happening to play an artificial harmonic is that I'm playing the 4th fret on the top E string, but I'm actually getting a harmonic through a fancy technique here. On the next note down we have a pinched harmonic, which is where I dig in with my that's a pinched harmonic. The next note down says TH, which is a tapped harmonic. Then we have a feedback, which I'm not entirely sure I can do right here, but if we had lots of volume, it'd be a note that would be feeding back and creating a harmonic. And then we have a pinched harmonic again. And they are all the things that cover in this particular little lesson on reading tab. Any questions, feel free to pop them either in the comment box or give me a shout direct.
He